Drop and Funko had just announced the first NFT set of 2025 being Adventure Time Series 2. And of course, because of the success of Series 1, people are very excited about this. And just like a lot of the NFT sets that have multiple series, it makes me think which is better between Series 1 or Series 2. So I'm DK Wrestler, and today I'm going to be discussing about Series 2 of the Adventure Time Funko NFTs, but then I'm going to look back at what Series 1 was like, compare the two, and then determine what I feel is better between Series 1 and Series 2 of the Adventure Time Funko NFTs. So let's get right to it. So first off, we're going to be looking at Series 2, which just got announced a couple of days ago. We got ourselves the Grail of BMO, 999 pieces. And I really like the way that this BMO looks, considering that it not only has a facial expression involved with the pop, but it's also translucent because the parts inside of BMO you can actually see through the actual pop itself, which is pretty cool. It gives me the vibes, of course, since BMO is a video game console, of those Game Boy colors, I believe, back in the day, where they were see-through and you can kind of see the wires and the buttons and everything through them. So I really like the way that they did this pop, and it's really cool to see BMO here because, of course, there wasn't a BMO redeemable involved with Series 1. Then moving on to the legendaries, all being limited to 1,900 pieces. First off, we have ourselves Susan Strong. Pretty sweet that there actually is a pop-up for this set. And the fact that because this character is absolutely massive, of course, if it was normally done for the regular Funko Pop set, it would have likely been either a 6-inch or a 10-inch pop, which would have taken up a lot of space, but they actually went with the molding idea that they introduced with April Fool's Series 2 last year with Papa Said Freddy, with the whole big body, small head idea, which they had done that with, like I mentioned, Papa Said Freddy from April Fool's Series 2, Bob for Beetlejuice, and then recently announced was Shrunken Head Beetlejuice for the original movies. So it seems like Funko is not going to be slowing down on this concept of a Funko Pop mold, and they have continued it here with Susan Strong, which is cool to keep it within that 4-inch box. And then we got ourselves Tree Trunks, which is pretty cool. I remember seeing this character a few times with the little episodes that I have seen of Adventure Time, and of course Tree Trunks being an elephant. And I remember the episode I think that this is involved with, where she is making an apple pie, and then she had mentioned that she doesn't have the best apple pie because the best apple pie you can get is finding this specific apple in a certain forest. And I know a lot of people throughout social media are excited for the fact that Tree Trunks is a part of the set, because of course we never got her in the regular set of the Adventure Time Pops. We got ourselves the Lich as Billy, which is pretty sweet. This one has a lot of people excited too, considering, for those that may not know, the Lich hasn't been made in some sort of way in the Funko world since I believe the green version they made back at Emerald City Comic Con 2016. So we're approaching almost 10 years since the last time we have seen anything regarded to the Lich. Even with the newer set that came out a couple of years ago, there was no sighting of a Lich pop. And for people who had joined into the Funko game maybe during the pandemic, this may be the only accessible Lich pop that you can get at the moment. And then last but not least, we have ourselves the Royalty, which is Freddy and Proto as Finn and Jake, which is a really unique concept of a pop, considering that I don't think we've really had a pop and Buddy as terms to the NFTs besides the Foghorn Leghorn from Looney Tunes, which is kind of considered as one, but you're also having two of Funko's mascots being Freddy and Proto, with the two main characters of Adventure Time being Finn and Jake. So that's really cool. I think a lot of us thought that we were going to get Freddy Funko as Finn the Human as terms to the first series of the Adventure Time NFTs, but we have it here alongside Proto, that if they would have done Proto as Jake as a separate pop, I don't think a lot of people would have been excited for it, since a lot of people don't like Proto for some reason. Now we're going to take a look back at Series 1 that released in 2023, starting off with the Grail. It was the Old Man Finn the Human. I had to look back on YouTube with some of these episodes, and I believe the episode this is from, where he's practically dead, actually. Like, he's looking for Jake the dog, and then he finds like a different like animal that tells him that he's actually dead, if I'm not, something along along the lines of that. But this is still pretty decent, and the fact that it is the Grail definitely makes sense, because I feel like a lot of the redeemables, at least through the legendaries, people would rather want than this Finn the Human, which of course Finn obviously has tons of pops already in the Adventure Time set. Then with the legendaries, we're going to start off with Golb, and this is pretty sweet, especially Golb being part of the finale of Adventure Time. And this could have also been a character, like I mentioned with Susan Strong from Series 2. If this was a regular released pop, it likely would have been a 6-inch or a 10-inch pop because of how massive the character actually is. Lady Rainicorn, and this is a pretty decent looking pop. And I like the way that they pulled this off, because she's a much lengthy character that realistically, if they would have done it like you normally see her, then she would have easily been in a sideways box, but then they kind of rolled her up so that she fits in the regular 4-inch box that actually stands up straight. So that's pretty cool. Lady Rainicorn being the steed of Princess Bubblegum, and then of course the girlfriend of Jake the dog. So pretty cool that she's involved in this set, and I know a lot of people were excited about this, and I believe this was a very highly priced pop when it was selling on the secondary market before the redemption tokens were sent out. Peppermint Butler. This is an okay looking pop, of course, the butler of Princess Bubblegum. So it kind of goes along with the Lady Rainicorn in a way, but I don't remember how excited a lot of people were about this. I know that it was fairly cheap on the secondary market when it was selling as the legendary card as it is. Then what probably was my favorite redeemable of this entire set being Randy Butternubs, which is Jake the dog in that certain Halloween costume when they're playing that one like Clue game, and they had to go by the different names, and his name was Randy Butternubs, and he seemed upset over that name, like, I'm Randy Butternubs. Like, he just wasn't excited about that, because he even threw the card afterwards. But that's really cool that they ended up doing this for an NFT, considering that this was a specific moment that didn't really last long. And then for the royalty, we have Freddy Funko in Jake suit, which was pretty sweet, based off the episode where it's Finn in the Jake suit. So they just used Freddy Funko inside of the Jake suit this time around, which I still think was pretty sweet. So I guess now comparing both of these sets, the thing that Series 1 has over Series 2 is of course that there's 6 redeemables compared to 5, but I feel like in a way you could use the phrase less is more, and that there's a lot going on with only 5 redeemables in Series 2 than there is when it comes to Series 1, even though Series 1 was still a pretty decent set. If I'm comparing them grail by grail between the Finn the Human and the BMO, I kind of like the Finn the Human better just by a little bit, and that's because you can't really find a old man Finn the Human otherwise within that set, while with the BMO isn't changing the way that the body looks per se, besides maybe the newer one where it's wearing a chef's hat. But other than that, you're not really going to see much of a molding change besides the translucent look with this NFT pop. If you're comparing the royalties between Series 1 and 2, I will have to go with Series 2 in this case, because we have ourselves the Freddy as Finn the Human that we thought was going to happen for Series 1, but now it's here for Series 2 with the addition of Proto the dog as Jake the dog, which I would have been okay with either just Freddy as Finn or Proto as Jake, but the fact that they kind of combined both of them in the same pop was over the top in my opinion, and why I think it was better than the Series 1 royalty. And then when you're comparing the legendaries with 3 of them being in Series 2 and 4 of them being in Series 1, I do think that they're kind of equal in a way, considering that they come from specific moments or they're characters that obviously have not been made into a Funko Pop previously. But I feel like there's a way where I can settle this so that I can decide whether I like Series 1 or 2 better instead of just saying that's a tie. So I'm on the main page of where you would get the cards for Series 1 through Atomic Hub. And I thought if I go through template and I look at packs, it does show the official amount that was made between both standards and premiums, which there was 18,750 premiums and standards made, which even though Series 1 did sell out, I feel like the number of packs like we seen here in 2025 would likely make it a set that doesn't end up selling out. And if we go on the main page right here with all the info of the pricing of the packs, it does show that there's going to be a total of 15,000 standard and premium packs, which is lower than the amount from Series Series 1, and I think with this number of packs with a very popular licensor like Adventure Time, that there could be a pretty decent chance that this actually could sell out, which at the moment I am gonna say, based off the fact that with a number like this that it could sell out, this is gonna have me decide that Series 2 is better than Series 1. Anyways guys, that's gonna be the end of today's video. If you enjoyed today's video of me comparing Series 1 and 2 of the Adventure Time Funko NFTs, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down below on what you think of the newest set of Adventure Time Funko NFTs, and I hope to see you guys on another video here on the channel. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.